I am so excited for today's guest. Put the kettle on, my loves. Named by the Times as one of the UK's most successful love coaches, Persia Lawson is a dating and relationship expert, author, and speaker. For over a decade, she's helped thousands of high-achieving women, from CEOs to creatives, find real, lasting love after years of disappointment, therapy, and self-doubt. As a trained celebrant, she's even officiated some of their weddings. Blending psychology, energy work, Persia is known for her trademark no BS approach to modern love. Her work has been featured in Vogue, Cosmopolitan, and the BBC, and she is a sought-after expert. Persia hosts the #1 rated podcast, Love is Coming, and appears as the relationship expert on major US television show. Hello, and welcome to Pressing Play. I'm your host, Jo Fiddy, motivational speaker and menopause mentor. Have you been living in the pause of midlife and quietly wondering, is this it? And ready to ignite your passion and energy and purpose? Then this show is for you. Perimenopause is not the beginning of the end. It's a powerful pivot into your power years. And you, my love, deserve to feel alive while living it. Let's press play. Persia Lawson, welcome to the Pressing Play podcast.
Yay! Thank you for having me. We got there in the end.
Yes. Oh, it's such an honor. Thank you so much for coming on. And I think let's just start at the beginning. I mean, have you always been successful in your love life? Being a love expert? Tell us.
I think you know the answer to that. Absolutely not. I was the biggest train wreck out of anyone I knew. God, where to even start with that? I had a boyfriend on every continent for at least a decade, which sounds, one might say, oh, that is a success.
Yeah.
But it was very gnarly. I'll try and keep this as brief as possible. But when I was growing up, my parents struggled with drug addiction. And the way that I dealt with that was twofold. I was basically looking for escapism and validation. And the way that I got those two needs met was through being like the overachiever. I was the golden child, A stars, leading roles, all of that popular. But I also got with boys from actually, when I look back, from a disturbingly young age. And the boys became increasingly I used to flip-flop between the bad boys, because we all love a bad boy. Yeah. And then obviously I'd get burnt by him, and then I'd reach for the nicest close guy around me, and then, regain my sense of self-worth. And then I would get bored, and then end up cheating on him with another bad boy, and it would just go on. And it got worse and worse, actually, as my parents got sober when I was around 16, because I always say, shit stinks, but it's warm. We are drawn as human beings to what is familiar over what is unfamiliar, because better the devil you know. So I got worse. I was a complete cheating addict. I was, there was a time I was sleeping with my boyfriend's best friend. And it all came crashing down in my mid-20s. I got a master's from one of the world's top drama schools, and then found myself 2 weeks later working in a strip club as a hostess. And long story short, I got sexually assaulted in there, really quite in a very disturbing situation. Didn't tell anyone, didn't really realize, because then I'd have to explain what I was doing there. And so I got this acting job in China. And when I was there, I was just so self-destructive. And I ended up putting on 2 stone in 2 months, because I was drinking everything, sleeping with everyone, eating shit, not going to bed, just really not looking after myself. And I always say that rapid weight gain was the best thing to ever, makes me emotional. It saved my life, because that was the one thing I couldn't hide from my parents. I could hide everything else. I was so, I remember actually a boyfriend that I wrote my first book about, which is 10 years today since that book came out, which is a nice coincidence, The Inner Fix. But I remember him saying to me when, he'd been in rehab, because another thing, I would always go for addicts. And so he was progress because he'd actually been to rehab. But when I was telling him about this, he said, I'd known him since I was since I was 13. We got together when I was, I think, 25. And he was so surprised. He said, I always thought you were a princess who had everything. Like, he couldn't believe that I would feel that crap about myself and that I would have had problems like that because I was so good at masking them. So yeah, long story
Mm.
short, my parents picked me up from the airport after China. And were understandably quite concerned because they're like,
Yeah.
something's not right. So my dad took me away on this health retreat to Thailand, and we were doing yoga every day. It was the first time there was no partying, there was no boys to distract me. And while we were there, my dad said something that completely changed my life and actually became the message to the book that came out 10 years ago today, The Inner Fix. And it was, he said, Perj, I'm really worried about you. And if, he'd been sober by this point for quite some time. And
Mm.
he said, if there's one piece of advice I can give you, it's this: focus on the insides and the outsides will take care of
Oh,
themselves.
yeah.
And that was it. Like that, he'd possibly said that to me before, but I heard it, it really landed. And then that sent me on this whole healing trajectory, retreats, therapy, coaching, like all of it, you name it, every self-help book under the sun.
Mm.
Started blogging about it. That blog got quite a lot of media attention, which led to the book deal of The Inner Fix. And then in the process of writing that book and the book coming out, I met my now husband, who I've been with nearly 11 years,
Yeah.
and, started this whole, trained as a coach, started this whole, well, really, to me, it's a movement because it's what completely changed my life. And here we are today.
Oh, such an inspirational story. It's such an inspirational story. And just taking from that, isn't it incredible how your body protected you in that moment? And
Mm.
your body, and I think this is a big piece, also perimenopausal women, it's like having to tune back into your body
Hmm.
because your body is talking to you. And we have learned to mask. We
Yeah.
have learned to keep it, we're fine. Everything's okay. And it's our body saying, no, I'm not okay. I'm not okay. And your journey, I've been reading it. Love is Coming. I have the book
Mm-hmm.
here. Such a powerful, powerful read, because also looking at where it was set, you wrote this. How many years ago did you write this again? Was it
So
7 years? Doing the
that
maths.
came out in 2021, that book, but I've been
Mm,
writing that really since I met my husband. Actually, even
yeah.
before I met my husband, because I'd
Mm,
sort of started writing what that book became. But then because I'd started this coaching business with my friend, we did The Inner Fix, and that was kind of with her. So that book was, I mean, really in many ways a decade, actually a decade in the make. I
mm,
started a form of it in 2011 and it came out in 2021,
yeah.
which is again interesting because it's 10 years since The Inner Fix came out
Yeah.
today. I've always been really fascinated with time and like just like I don't know. I always remember like, oh, it's been a year since this. It's been 10 years since this. Don't remember what I did this morning, but I'll tell you what I did like 15 years ago on Tuesday, the 11th of May.
I know, completely, completely. And I feel like this book, it's such a love letter. It's such a love letter to
Mm.
your relationship and your story. And I know that you wrote this in your 30s and you have just entered your 40s.
Yep.
Congratulations, darling.
Thank
Welcome to
you.
the dance floor. We talk about it being a brand new dance floor. And in your book, Love is Coming, is there anything now that you're in your 40s and you've obviously been in your relationship now with Joey? Is there anything extra that you would like to add into this book now you're in your 40s? Or is something that you've learned in your journey? Because obviously you just met Joey in this book. Is there
Yeah.
anything extra you'd like to add inside?
Oh my God, so much. God, so much. I wouldn't even know where to start because uh, we hadn't we hadn't got married. We were supposed to have got married, but COVID sort of
Yeah.
foiled those plans. So we hadn't got married. We've been now married coming up to 4 years. Um, and I did actually touch on COVID because, yeah, I actually really like did a lot of the editing of the book in
Mm,
lockdown. Um, but since then, I mean, it's really the things that have been happening in the last less than a year. Um, and it's a lot been around family and unexpected
mm,
things like that you just can't possibly imagine. Like I had this week in September that last 2025 that started, everything was going really well. I was about to
yeah.
film this TV show and, finally the dreams were coming true and
Yeah.
we've renovated our house and like life is fine. Like my husband was working in Morocco in a film job and everything was really great.
Yeah.
And then the beginning September this week, my dad, the way he stayed sober, he goes trekking in the mountains, and we've actually gone with him. Like we saw Everest, it was amazing years ago. Um, but he went missing in the Afghanistan earthquakes, and we couldn't get hold of him, and we thought, oh, it's probably just because you know, but Afghanistan, like of all the countries and all the times that he could have been there, so that was very disturbing. So we had to just go for that week and just be like, well, you know, we're sure he's fine. You know, we just had to. And then literally 4 days after that, I was at my parents' place in London, White City, and they live on like they live in like the top flat of this big building. And I woke up to a fire at 3 a.m. with my mum, and it was fucking terrifying. It was terrifying. And so we thought their place had completely burnt down, and it might as well have, because they've had to move out of there, and their apartment was right next to the fire. I mean, we saw it. It was a few meters from us, and it was about 10 meters high. It was terrifying.
Terrifying.
And then 2 days after that, my beloved father-in-law got diagnosed with terminal brain cancer. And it was like the rug just got completely pulled out. And it was always what I was afraid of, is like, you finally get all of these things that you work really hard for. And then life just comes, like, none of us know what's going to happen. And I think that's you know, I do talk about this in both of those books, The Inner Fix and Love is Coming, but God, it was a stark reminder of like, you know what? Anything can change like that, for better or sadly for worse. And so it's been a reminder, like, one day at a time, make the most of this day, work with wherever you're at today. You could, like, you know, some days you're better than others, but you just don't know what's around the corner. And you just don't know, like, when you sometimes think, oh, I think things are hard now, you just don't know. So like, just don't sweat the small stuff, which I'm not great at, to be honest, but I just have to keep reminding myself, like, you've got a lot of good stuff in your life, and enjoy it and be grateful for it. Just like, I was in my bed this morning and I was like, I once dreamed of having a gorgeous bed like this. And I'm just in there and I'm like, just feel it and enjoy it, because we become so normalized, don't we, to these
We
things
do.
that were once dreams of ours. And then just to touch back on what you were saying about the body, I mean, that has been a through line in both of my books. And again, right now, not only am I dealing with my father-in-law, terminal brain cancer, but back in 2019, my husband and I had a mushroom experience. And two things, I saw two very strong visions. I'm quite witchy as like anyway. But I saw COVID. I didn't know it was COVID, but I was like, Joe, everyone's wearing masks and the world is like, everything is shutting down. And he was like, all right, you're crazy. And then when COVID happened, I went, I fucking saw this. So that was another thing. It's like, women, we are witches, and like, don't ignore those voices. And then the second thing that happened was that I had this really strong thing of like, it was like the mushrooms would tell, like, go your abdomen, there's something going on, get it checked out. And I ignored that for a few years. And then I just couldn't stop niggling. And then I went and got it checked out. And they said, like, this is amazing that you've done this, because you've got quite a lot of polyps on your gallbladder, and they're okay now and we'll monitor them, but it can get very bad you know. And what's happened 2 weeks ago tomorrow, I basically got fast tracked to have a meeting with the surgeon, and I just was trying not to think about it. I was like, I'm sure it's fine. And basically he said, look, they're growing rapidly and we've got to take your gallbladder out because we're concerned about what it could be. And then we'll have to send it off for tests. So given everything that's going on with my father-in-law and like the MRI scan, last week I had to go for a CT scan, have bloody ink injected in me. Got it done. But it's just been like, oh my God, you know, like, but that could have saved my life, because you don't have symptoms and you don't know usually with the gallbladder until it's too late. So I'm just like, oh my God, women, if you ever get an intuitive feeling, get it, like, don't worry about being seen as a hypochondriac, because that's what they did say that, like, they didn't say that, but I saw it in their fucking eyes. And then when they saw the polyps, they were like, oh, it's like, listen to women, because we do know.
We do know. We do. Thank you so much for sharing. And just my heart just goes out to you. I'm going to be sending you so much love ahead of your surgery. And
Thanks.
so much love. And isn't it so interesting what you were saying about that witchy instinct that we have, and that intuition, and women's health? It can be dismissed because it's, oh, you're in pain and you're here. And I think many women listening to your conversation right now have been through it. I think we've reached a point in our 40s and in our 50s where we have been through stuff, isn't it? And with our bodies, with what's going on in our lives, and it's having that inner strength and resilience to keep going. What do you feel like is your North Star in this moment that you're going through?
Oh, what a great question. I am very much, I mean, I've said one of them already, which is one day at a
Mm,
time, because when I start to think in the future and all these things happening, it becomes very unmanageable. And also, last night I was my husband's up at his parents. I'm going up this
yeah,
weekend. And he was FaceTiming and his dad, who this time last year was absolutely fine. Like
yeah,
we had no idea what was going on. Um, and he can barely speak. And it really was, it's really painful and it's scary. And so again, coming back to what I said, is just
mm,
like, one day at a time, be grateful for what's here now. And, we are so powerless. I,
yeah,
on the tap this morning, I did we're both rapid tapping pros, obviously. And I just felt called to say the serenity prayer. And that
yeah,
really is it for me. Grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom
yeah,
to know the difference. And there's a second part. You're going to like this. The second part that most people don't know
mm,
is, grant me patience with the changes that take time, appreciation for all that I have, tolerance for those with different
mm.
struggles, and the strength to get up and try again one day at a time.
Oh,
Like, you got
goosebumps,
everything. What
goosebumps.
else do you need? Like, that
Yeah,
prayer, the whole thing is just getting me through right now. It really is.
yeah, and having that ritual that you say to yourself and
Mhm.
tapping that your body's safe and just having that, I think that's just such a powerful North Star to have during this time
Yeah.
because it is right. And I think aging is such a privilege. It's such a
Yeah.
privilege. And I think, and you find, and talking about the women, that you work with, so I feel this is a bit of a bridge, isn't it? When you're going through such a tough time, you've had this, in a way, it's that gift of life is really precious, everybody. Life
Yeah.
is really precious.
Yeah.
And at the same time, for women, they're told that they get made to feel like they're expiring. They're going into
Yes.
this pause. And suddenly there's that fear of aging, going into a perimenopausal state. And that patriarchal, we also got to be in the patriarchy in, but that
Yeah.
conditioning that we have where it's like, oh, hang on, should I just take a side step left now and just dim my light a little bit? Because, I am getting older. And then you have these moments. So for me personally, a very, very close member of mine passed away when she was 39
Oh,
and I was about 6, 7. And I feel that's been like an echo, like a little, even gets emotional talking about it. I feel it's just
um,
been an echo in my life that you realize that life is here to live. And
yeah.
yet for women, they feel they have to step aside and not live because they're told to pause in this
Yeah.
pause years. What
Yeah.
would you say to women that feel maybe for them, it's love isn't coming for me, or it's what's the point? What do
Uh,
you feel based on the experience that you're having right now?
I would say you are the point and your life is
Mm,
the point. And we don't know that we're going to get another chance to
yeah.
experience life, certainly in this way, in this earth suit at this time. And like you already said it, Joe, like, life is a gift, life is precious, but you make the meaning. Like, we live in a
Mm,
universe of infinite possibilities, infinite possibilities. Like,
yeah.
that is science. That's science,
Yeah.
man. I'm not very
Yeah.
scientific. But I've got an amazing coach at the moment that I'm working with called Shoshana Raven, and she's got this book called The Limit Does Not Exist, and it's really been helpful for me at this time. Like,
Mm,
she definitely came in at the right time for me, because she just reminded me about that, like, you know what, Persia, out of all of the possibilities, what are you choosing to focus on? And the
yeah.
thing is, what we will choose to focus on is what we are conditioned to focus on, what we practice focusing on.
Yes.
So starts with changing our mind, like changing our mind. A Course in Miracles, talks a lot about this. It's like, a miracle is simply a shift in perspective from fear to love. And
That.
there's a saying in there that, again, I've got a lot of North Stars at the moment, but it says, only what I am not giving in any situation can be lacking. Only what I'm not giving in any
Wow.
situation can be lacking. So if we're going to apply that to, like, there are many, many women out there who are not, and you're one of them, Joe, who are
Mm,
not choosing to see this as a
yeah.
pause, as they're choosing to go, I don't know how long I've got. That's the fucking reality. I
Yeah.
don't know how long I've got. I don't know how long the people I love have got. I'm
Yeah.
going to make the absolute best of every moment. If this experience has taught me one thing, it really is that. Like, you don't have to take on this bullshit messaging. You get to decide.
Yeah.
Like, I love what you said about the 40s, welcome to the dance floor. And I was like, I've never left it. I've been on the dance floor. I met my husband on the dance floor. I meet all my favorite humans on the dance floor. But I love that expression, I love that. I actually saw Faithless play not long ago, and God is a DJ, and
Oh,
it's
faithless.
Faithless is amazing. And I actually, years ago, me and Joe met Maxi Jazz.
Yeah.
We were at a festival, and yeah, he's just such a legend. But that whole thing of like, I really, there's an expression that is the first quote. It's a quote actually by the philosopher Ralph Waldo Emerson. And I opened my book, Love is Coming, with it because I love a festival. I met my husband at a festival. And the quote is, life is a festival only to the wise. And
Yeah.
I was like, God, that's really, that's so profound. It's like, the way I see it is, okay, you go to a festival and it can be the most amazing thing. The sun's shining, you're with your friends, you're drinking cider, you're dancing, everything's great. And sometimes you go to a festival and it's pissing with rain, your tent's got a fucking leak, the portaloos are vile. Like, the fact is, you're there. And when I change my mind, instead of going, this is shit, because I've been that person, of like, I get to make the best of this.
Yeah.
Like, I'm at the festival anyway.
Yeah.
And let's go into a tent, because the thing about when it rains at a festival is everyone goes in the tent. So the energy in the tent is actually better than when it's summer, when everyone's outside, which is lovely, but you don't get the energy in the tents in the same way. So I'm like, you get to decide the meaning. You get to it's like, pick your adventure. We've all been around those people. And honestly, in many ways, like I am not a naturally super positive person. I have to work really hard at this. My husband much also is. But we're around those people who have allowed the world and the shit that's happened to them to calcify them and make them so bitter. And it's understandable. But then you see the other people. The people, I love Corrie ten Boom, and she was the woman she was in the Nazi concentration camps. She watched Nazis kill her family in front of her. And then she chose to forgive those exact Nazis who did that, because she was like, forgiveness, like, I want to be free of this. And she's done, like, just when you read her book and the work she's done, it's like, see, that's what I'm talking about. Infinite possibilities. There are people who have gone through things that you and I can't even comprehend, and have chosen to make the meaning of that, like, not let that ruin their life. Let them go and thrive, not even in spite of it, but because of it. And that's what I've really taken. I grew up with a very messed up childhood in many ways, but a lot of good things. But I was like, my parents got sober, and I'm like, they're my heroes. And I choose to make my life a beautiful work of art. Not perfect. It's messy as fuck sometimes, certainly at the moment. But I want to make the best of it, because otherwise, what's the alternative? It's so depressing. I don't want to live like that. I just don't want to live like that.
Yeah. It's so true. It's so true. And as you talk about with the festival, and all of it is so true. And I think it builds, it's Eleanor Mills. She talks about being a queenager, that how we are forged in fire. And that makes us who we are, like forged in fire.
Wow.
With that experience that we've been through, and we're going in spite of it. And we are moving, that life is a roller coaster. And I think, and looking at your relationship with Joey, I saw recently you talked about surrendering to the festival. And is it meet a man that can hold the fairy lights and your hand at the same time? Was that right? Can you tell me a little bit more about that?
Yeah. So it was actually, that's gone sort of mini viral, that one. And it was Marry the Man. I've kind of like, it's really funny, because I used to be an actor, and when I was at university, I played the role of Miss Adelaide in Guys and Dolls, and she has this song that goes, marry the man today. And I just always remember those words, and I sort of accidentally started this series on Instagram, like every now and then when I remember to do it. It's like, marry the man who, whatever, picks you up from the airport, whatever it is. But the one that the other day, he was in our tree, and had some hard news about his dad, and in our tree, and he was just wrapping fairy lights, we've got this beautiful magnolia tree, making it so magical. And I just was like, he's still bringing beauty to our lives. He makes us a sauna every night. We've got this beautiful sauna in Garden, which has changed our life. Can't recommend it enough. And I was like, so the Instagram reel I did was like, marry the man who can hold grief in one hand and fairy lights in the other.
That's it.
And it was just like, you choose to you're going to have moments, of course, where you fall apart, and that's part of it as well. But for the most part, you make the most out of it. You try and bring the magic wherever you can. And like, that is how we're getting through this at the moment. Like this weekend, it's his little brother's birthday. And we're having everyone up to his parents, where we got married, where we got engaged. They've got where we spent lockdown, and they've got
Yeah.
land up there, and we're going to do a little mini, but we usually do a festival for charity. We're
Mm.
not able to do that this year, but we are doing a kind of like a sort of mini version of it, and
Mm.
with like, I don't know, 30 of us or something, and we really need that. It's like, let's get the music on.
Yeah.
Hopefully the weather will be nice. If not, we'll go in the barn and have a great time. We'll make the best of it, but just let's bring the magic, because they need it right now. And actually,
Yeah.
we all do. We all do.
Yeah. We all do. We all do need the magic right now, my love. And you being on here, I've got to say, you're bringing the magic. You are bringing the magic. And I'm sure everyone who's listening to you right now is really feeling it and really understanding what you're saying and just kind of really resonate with what you're saying. Let's talk about your festival and the
Mm.
festival that you have. So I think there's women that are listening here, and maybe they are I think we've got a whole range. I think the 40s and the 50s is a wild time. We have,
Mhm.
women who are dating, women who are or been through a huge breakup and they're going through or a divorce right now. And we've got women who are married. So I've got some questions for all of those,
Mhm.
because I think we're going to
Mhm.
cover them too. But talk me through your festival that you're doing within your work.
So because last year it was 10 years since I met my
Mm,
man at a festival, and I knew that the TV show would be coming out. I'm trying to think, I think I came up with this idea before I got the TV show, but
mm,
it's like, I've got my core program, which is Love for Leaders, and that's very much I've always been a high achiever, and that's for women who very much identify as
mm,
being achievers, and you're going to get down and do the deep work. And that's my heart and soul. But I was like, I know I want to have one other space, just two spaces, that's lower investment, but is like a really community led, and it's just mindset and energetics around relationships. But really,
yeah.
it's beyond that. It's not. It's kind of life. It's like everything we're talking about, of like, I'm going to choose to make my life about joy, celebration, and magic as much as I
Mm,
possibly can.
yes.
And so that's really the essence of that membership. And we started last July, and it has just been thriving. And so with the TV show coming out, we want to be welcoming more women into that, and just to like really come and experience, what happens in life and in love, in all your relationships, when you decide to come from that energy.
Yeah.
Like, even when the hardest things, like we're going through at the moment,
Mm,
we still choose to come from that energy. And I tell you what, it's a lot better than the alternative, as I
yeah.
said
Yeah.
earlier. And it's just been this really magical space. And I do um I do like a Zoom kind of gathering once a month, which is a
Mm,
training. But like most days we've got a Telegram group, so it's like WhatsApp really.
yeah.
And I do like audio drops, and we have different chats and different things, and there's music, there's just all sorts of things. And it's just been wonderful, absolutely wonderful.
Oh, a wonderful place for women to gather at their
Mhm.
online festival with you. Someone who you really do walk your talk. You really do walk your talk with your perspective that you're doing, and how you feel, and how bringing the magic and that energy of what is possible, and focusing on that. I love you for it. I really, really do.
Thank
If
you.
and talk about for love for leaders. So do you feel for love for leaders? Is there a particular woman that comes in, and maybe we're listening to women listening to this now as they're driving or they're on their commute,
Mhm.
and they're going, oh yeah, this is
Yeah.
me. What women are entering love for leaders, and what are you noticing about them?
Yeah, so women who are lovely. So yeah, high achievers, women,
Mm.
like quite a few of us are like, I want to win. Like we want to be the winner of whatever it is, and competitive. And a lot of these women are coming in because they might be thriving in their career. They might have CEO, have their own business. I mean, we've had everything: doctor, politicians, journalists, like and not everyone's career is necessary. It's not like, that's not for me. And
Mm.
like, you don't need to be like at this level, but you do have to identify with being an achiever in whatever field that is, because that's a very big part of it. And
Yeah.
that's why, most of them are single. Sometimes they come in and they're like, either like, should I stay or should I go? Like, they're coming into the container to sort of work through that.
Mm.
Sometimes they're like coming in to work on their relationship or marriage, but primarily I'd say a good 85% are women who are single and really want to meet what I call their true power couple partnership. And so back in the 80s, there was that the term power couple, and that basically was like a couple who's rich, famous, beautiful,
Yeah.
successful, you know. And to be a true power couple, you can absolutely be those things. But really, it's about, it was inspired by looking at my parents and like who they became. It's about the relationship is not just about externals. It's about who are you choosing to be. What are you choosing to bring? What value are you bringing? So it's about giving, not just what can I get? Like, how can this be perceived? Because we've all seen the power couples, celebrities, and they don't last very long if that's all that it's based on, you know?
Yeah. High
If
cost
that's,
divorce normally.
yeah,
It's
exactly,
all over
exactly.
the
It ends
Daily
up
Mail.
you end up losing a lot that you came in with in a lot of those situations. So it was flipping that on its head, and it was like, you know, I really believe in, you know, I want to help women create women in positions of influence. In whatever sphere, that might be on a global stage, that might be, you know, I've had women who are teachers or head teachers at their school, and it's like, you know, that like that's such an important role. You're like
Massive.
influencing all of these people.
Yeah.
So it's really important. And so it's really, I want them to be in relationships that are force for good, not drama. And again, good can be, you know, I've had women and couple who get into partnerships that they become extremely philanthropic, maybe because they're famous or they become famous and they're very known in their world of work. Then, you know, I have women who they just like with their partner, they go and do like a charity run, and but it's something healthy and wholesome that they do. And I'm not saying it's not about, I'm just going to get in a relationship, we just become a do-gooder, because I've got the festival, and, you know, that's why I'm like the Love for Leaders and festival is like basically me. It's like the high achiever, the success, you know, which has always been important to me. But then there's the festival, the magic, the fun, the playfulness. Like, I love dancing. I've already done 2 festivals this summer, and we're only in like mid-May when we're recording. So yeah, it's those 2 spaces for me they're really like, yeah, my heart and soul.
Oh, I love it. And do you feel that maybe patterns for those women when it comes to relationships, that their career is thriving and they notice that there is a gap?
Yes.
And if there's women that are
Yeah.
listening right now, obviously go and see Persia Lawson. But is there any advice that you would like to give them where they're going and looking, you know, they're thinking, actually, love isn't coming for me. And there is that quiet resignation where it's just not going to happen. It's not for me. I've reached a point now where I resign. I'm not going to look anymore.
Yeah. Which is basically a form of self-defense. Because you think, I'm just going to cut that possibility off so that I'm not going to get disappointed. But the thing is, remember, we live in a universe of infinite possibilities. Whatever you decide, it will become a self-fulfilling prophecy. So if you actually really want that, and my feeling is like, who doesn't? I mean, of course there are exceptions, but most of us, certainly everyone I know, it was like, we do want to have that deep love, that joyful partnership where you feel like a team, where they're your rock, they're your champion, and vice versa. You've got each other's back, and life becomes like even more expansive when you're together. I've had women who have been single for 15 years, women who've never had a partner, women who are in their 60s, like leaving an abusive marriage, who are now in the most amazing relationships, like married, traveling the world, having kids. Like, I've seen it all. I've worked with that. You know, I've been doing this for, gosh, I started working on myself 2011, started on blogging and that sort of training and all of that in 2012. So I've been is it 14 years? Something like that. It's a long bloody time. I've worked with thousands of women at this point. And the ones, it's not like your situation that is the problem. It's your perception of it. It's your story that you are making it mean. So the ones who go on to get the thing they want, it's not that they were more beautiful or they had, these external things that we think are what matters. It's that they just decided, they're like, I live in a universe of infinite possibilities. Yeah. If it can happen for her and her, then that's actually proof it can happen for me. It's not taking it from me, you know? And so I just say, stick with the winners. There's an expression in 12 steps, like stick with the winners. Like, if you surround yourself with people who are always going, and I know sometimes we can't avoid this if they are in our family, but you can certainly limit access to you to a degree that, that you need to. But if you surround yourself with people who are so negative and who really don't believe in possibility, and who will always look on the dark side of life, then unfortunately that's what's it's gonna rub off on you. Whereas if you get around people who, expand and challenge your thinking and go and remind you Like we are existing on a fucking ball that is like flying around space. You know, it's like we shouldn't even be like, it's insane that any of this works. Like, don't just like, sometimes I think, you know, we look at mortgages and taxes. We believe in all this bullshit that we've made up.
Yeah.
Mortgages and taxes and like, you know, like systems. We believe more in that than like the magic. And yet I'm sat looking out at nature right now, outside my office window, my garden, and I'm like you just look at nature, it's magical, it's insane. Like Marianne Williamson talks about like how does the, you know, the embryo, there isn't a divine intelligence that enables the embryo to become the baby, the acorn to become the oak tree. Like there is intelligence in that, and it's us who blocks it. So get in the flow of life, because nature and life, like that's sort of operates, that's doing all right. It's us who fucks it up. It's the limiting and the like negativity and the control, all of that is what fucks it up. So stick with what is working, stick with the winners.
Yes, stick with the winners. Stick with the winners. And I talk about, and I think it's going to marry the harmony. It's going to harmonize quite well with what you're doing, because I always talk about your belief soundtrack. So your belief soundtrack is, you know, when you were little, you used to like record the top 40 on cassette. Not get the DJ. Yeah, remember the cassette tape. Well, there's all our little beliefs that we were downloading about everything, you know, life, love, and everything in between. And then even in, you know, especially in teen years as well. And then they become the soundtrack to our lives now. And so I always say, you know, if you can't find your rhythm in, you know, in your 40s, 50s, in midlife, in peri, wherever you are, there's usually a belief out of tune.
Yeah.
And then also kind of taking on board actually that perimenopause is puberty in reverse.
Ooh.
And I find that I'm working with a lot of inner teens are coming up from that teenagers. How important do you feel beliefs are?
Oh God, they're
we are now. So looking at, so imagine that we're going through this we'll feel a bit inner teens now. Alana Spara says, and how important is that, do you feel, in your approach to love?
Well, the reality is that our reality is a sum of our beliefs. And that's really confronting. Like, I don't always want to know that, because I like to know that when it's working for me, but when something isn't working for me, I'm like, no. But it's like, you get what you believe is possible for you. Because if you don't believe it's possible, not only will you not try, you will actually, like, you will block it in obvious ways and very insidious ways that you don't even realize. Your beliefs and the identity that shapes, like, is your identity about someone who believes in lack, scarcity, fear? Like, you make your decisions and your choices from that place? Or are you making your decisions and choices for, like, best case scenario? You detach from, like, what has happened in the past does not have to determine the future. Because if I believed that my past would have to determine my future, and I looked at what I grew up with and some pretty dark things that happened, and also my past behavior, like, how am I with someone for 11 years, an amazing marriage and relationship, not perfect, but pretty bloody good, given that I was a full-on cheating addict, I was a nightmare. And I had to change my mind about who I was. And therefore, when I changed my mind about who I was and what was possible for me, I changed how I thought, which changed how I felt, which changed the energetic resonance I gave off, which changed the actions that I was taking, which then changed the results. It's the knock-on effect. But it does, you know, it starts with the mind, really, because I feel like, I mean, energy is the first thing you notice about people, but people's energy is a response of what they believe about themselves and about life.
Yes.
Because if I said to you, like, Joe, like, okay, you are, like, just like physicalize this. You are a person who believes that life is shit. It gets harder and harder. You're not good enough. No one loves you. And it's all downhill from here.
That's all
Like,
I'll see.
There you go. Yeah. But how do you hold yourself? Yeah, that's all you'll see. How would you hold yourself as that person? Whereas if I said, Joe, your identity, you are a woman who believes that the best is yet to come. You live in a world of I'm getting shivers. You live in a world of infinite possibilities. Magic is all around you. You just got to be open and receptive to it. Your best years are ahead of you. The better it gets, the better it gets. You are beautiful. You're amazing. You're talented. Everyone loves you. You're like, it's a completely different like, your energy it's a completely different thing. So I actually do think it starts with beliefs and with the mind. The energy follows on from that.
Yes, you can just feel the shift. And like I say, it is doing the inner work. It
Yeah.
is doing that inner work and giving that inner teen part of yourself a big hug
Yeah.
and be like, we've got this, we've got this. And your past doesn't have to become your reality. And
Yeah.
I love what you do with your work. I love that you do that with the work with the women, is helping them with the inner work. Okay. Something fun for you. Got a couple more and then I'll release you to the world, but a couple more. So looking at that teenage-esque side, are there any dating, and sorry, I'm jumping all over the shop because I'm very excited. So imagine that you are going fresh into the dating world. Yeah. You're in your 40s, 50s, going in the dating world. Now I've been married before, I've been divorced. And I know when I went back into the dating world, it felt quite daunting. And I thought there was loads of rules. So imagine there's, if you're out there, you're listening right now and you're going back into the dating world, are there any myths from the 90s and the 2000s that we need to put in the sin bin? That it's like, no, we're not doing this anymore.
Yeah.
What would you say are your top 5?
Okay, so I funny enough, I just brought up these slides that I've been making because I'm making a free training at the moment. I can say what it's called. It's called Love Slut to Life Partner, because when you and I, do you remember when you and I were in Monaco on a work thing, end of October 2025? It was just after I finished the filming job, and one of our members, she said, "Oh yeah," I said to my friend the other day, "You're such a love slut," and I was like, how have I never heard that? And I'm like, I'm stealing it. I was like, I was such a love slut, like, addicted to love. So anyway, this training, and I talk about the anti-dating matrix. Okay, that's what I'm all about. So basically, the dating matrix says you've got to chase love. You've got to it's a numbers game. You've got to perform. It's you've got to be like you've got to control everything. You've got to force it. You've got to make it happen. All the good men are taken. All it's about being impressive. All of that shit, like what we are fed in the superficial swipe. Everything's transactional. So what happens is that people go on these dates and they're performing, they're auditioning. There's no authenticity. There's no realness. And everyone goes, everything, it feels so superficial. It's like only what you are not giving in any situation can be lacking. So you have to basically do the opposite of all of that.
Yeah.
So it's about being present. It's about bringing your truth, even if that means like you go on a date and you're like, listen, can I be honest with you? I'm feeling really anxious. Instead of like, yeah, I'm fine. And like really awkward, just say, I'm really anxious. I haven't done this for a while. Or like, I find these things quite awkward sometimes. And I remember doing that. The guy that I dated before my husband, I did the online dating thing once. And it was so interesting because it completely broke the ice. And like, that's when we could actually connect. And he was like, oh, you know what? I feel the same. And then it just completely relaxed us both. So it's the way that you relate. And it's like everything we've been talking about, like bringing depth and bringing truth. Like this isn't about like oversharing your most traumatic things, unless like, when I met my husband, I was at that festival talking about my book that was coming up the year after. And so women kept coming up to me who'd been in that workshop crying. And he was like, what the fuck is that? Who are you? I was like, oh, well, I'm writing this book. And because I'd done 4.5 years of healing, like I wasn't like telling the story of my parents for shock and to manipulate him like I used to with other men, if I'm honest. I was just like, I'd alchemized it. I had integrated it. I was able to like talk about really deep things in a very relaxed way. And he was like, I've never met anyone like you. I've never met a woman who's just sort of like being able to talk about, oh yeah, I used to have a problem with cheating and blah, blah. And and he was just like, what? Like no one would say these things normally, but it's like, actually, if you can just be real and you can be grounded and you can trust yourself and you're like, you know what? The right person for me, I am not going to ever meet them, see them, or them see me through bullshitting. Like that's not going to happen. Whereas if you can bring the ugly parts of your past, but again, only when you've really like, done the work around them. So otherwise you're not kind of like in the real, I'm not saying you can't say if you're having a hard time, but there's got to be some level of discernment, like maturity around what you share when. You don't need to share everything straight away up front. But that immediately sets you apart. We look at a business, it's like, what's the unique proposition? Like, what's the thing that makes you stand out? Why are you different from everyone else? Everyone at the moment in the dating matrix is trying to do that on a very performative level. Whereas the irony is, the thing that's going to actually make you unique and stand out is being real and dropping the fucking act.
Yeah.
And also bringing that energy of magic and the festival, as opposed to like, because that's something people can do on dates is, oh yeah, ain't it awful? Oh, isn't this shit and that shit? And, it's very easy to, because
Yeah.
people, especially in Britain, we bond over that shit. But
Yeah.
actually, you don't want to bond with someone over shit things. Like you want them to come away being like, I feel so inspired. I feel like, whoa, what the hell just happened? Who the hell was that? That's what you want to leave people with.
Yeah. Yes. So if you're going out in the dating world, be yourself. Bring the magic. Don't feel you have to hide who you are. Be who you are and bring that magic. And talking about magic, any advice for any women, and maybe they've been in their marriage for 20 years. And again, it's that resignation, that invisible pause, I don't feel sexy. I don't feel, because I'm getting older. Obviously that narrative of what older is. Do you have any advice for how to get that spark back in a marriage, or confident in themselves, or anything like that?
It starts with you. I mean, I've learned this in my marriage of when I was like, when you normalize to each other and like, oh, I miss the honeymoon and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, oh, we've got to do this. Like, no. Just you focus on you. Stop trying to make the guy do it or whatever. And honestly, when you focus on feeling great and you just doing what you need to do to fill yourself up, and that can be, the deep inner work, but it can also be like, anything from like going and getting your nails done, like dressing up, because we can get, I can get very lazy and sloppy of like, just bumming around the house in bloody like sweatpants. And I'm like, why is the magic not here? Well, this is not how you started. Go back to what you were doing at the start. How were you operating with each other at the start? So for me and my husband, festivals, huge thing. We met at a festival. We re-fall in love. We have our best sex in a tent. Always.
Love it. Love it.
Go back to what you were doing at the start. And the secret of, and this isn't even coming from, I've been with my husband 11 years. So it's a long time, but it's, I go to my parents who are very much still in love. Who've had a wild old time of it. But it's like, you have got to treat your relationship like an adventure, and like you've got to keep falling in love with the same person again and again. But that starts with you falling in love with yourself. They will either meet you there or they won't. Like you can't force someone to show up in a certain way, but you can certainly inspire them. So that starts with the energy of like, what energy am I showing up? Am I coming from control, like naggy, like, which again is, I'm really good at doing naturally, but I'm like, no, I don't want to be that person. Like, especially right now with everything my husband and I are moving through, it's really easy to fall into that energy. And I'm like, no. I need to practice what I preach now more than ever when times are hard. I need to bring the festival magic. And that's why, this weekend, I'm like, what can I do to just bring some magic to all of us? Because we need it, not just me and my husband, but the whole family and like our close friends around us. So again, it comes back to only what I am not giving in any situation can be lacking. And I've just seen, I've just got it. This feels like it's got to be done. I've just seen my friend gave me this festival hat.
Oh, love it.
How much better is life when you've got
so much better?
I might just keep this on for the rest. I don't even know if
Can you please keep it on? Please keep it on. Please keep it on. Please keep it on. It's got to be done. I think this is it. This is about marriage. It's not the big fairy tale. It is the work, isn't it? It's not bright shiny days all of the time. And it's finding ways to bring the magic, and it's loving in the tough times. It's when you're kind of holding hands, you're like just trying to get through it, and being connected and knowing that you're with your partner. And I think I told you just before this, actually, me and my partner, we have a bit of a joke. We said couples that shovel shit together stay together, because in the very beginning we were putting horse manure in the back of our car. Don't even ask. It wasn't my idea. And there was a sheet. But that's kind of what we do, that in those tough times, it stay together. And one of you do bring the magic for you and for your whole family.
Yeah.
My love, your last question. And I know you've got the big project coming up as well. And what are you pressing play on next?
Oh, well, I think you've sort of said it there, my TV career. So you can go and have a look at it on HBO Max. It's called 90 Day Fiancé: The Last Resort. It's an American TV show. And I'm like the dating and relationship expert in it. And it was filmed in Henry VIII's castle. Actually, this is a great little tip. Henry VIII's castle, just north of Bristol, called Thornbury Castle. I didn't even know he had a castle. It's amazing. You can stay there. It's like super luxe. You can stay there. You can go for lunch. Like, great. If you're in that part of the world, go and check it out. It's really magical. But yeah, I'm really excited because I used to be an actor, and I've had a dream of bringing this work to the mainstream for a long time, and I have to a degree, but I knew TV. I really wanted to move into TV. And this time 10 years ago, I actually had a TV deal with my friend who I wrote my first book with.
Mm-hmm.
And I won't go into the whole story of it, but long story short, we walked away from it out of our choice. And so this has been a long time coming. I've had so many near misses. I nearly got the dating relationship coach in Celebs Go Dating back in 2018. And I was so crushed when I didn't get it. And then what I've realized is that, like, it's the same thing that I teach my clients of, like, when you can really want something, and I believe if you really desire something, that's because it's meant for you. But the hard thing about manifestation is when you're in that annoying, like that thirsty, desperate energy, you're not actually a match for that thing. When you can get to a point where you go, I really desire it, I will take the action that is like going to make me get, the external and inner action as well, doing the belief stuff around that it's possible for me and all of that. But I also am like surrendered to how or when this comes about. Like, I really got to the point, I was like, I know it's meant for me because I wouldn't have this feeling if it wasn't. But maybe I'm meant to become like in my 60s. Like, and that's, and until then, I'm just going to keep making great work. I'm supporting women. I get to control my schedule. Like I'm going to just make the best and do my best. And it was like the minute that I had really, genuinely, I wasn't pretending anymore. Like, I genuinely believe that it came, which is exactly what happened with my husband, where I was like, I know it's meant for me. I'm going to have this amazing relationship one day. Maybe I'm meant to have it later on in life. I don't know. But in the meantime, I'm going to make the best of everything. I'm going to surrender the festival. I'm going to get on the dance floor and just enjoy life. And I'm not joking. I was on the dance floor. And when I really got that, and I was dancing for me instead of like looking around at men and who was looking at me, in that moment, I had this feeling, said, turn around. And there he was. I mean, it was like the universe. I feel like I was meant to do this career because it's like the universe has just given me so many crazy stories like that are, but then I decide like this was meant for me. And therefore it is meant for me, because when you make the decision, life will kind of restructure around it for that to become the case. So you decide, you make them, I want to leave, really, like, cannot stress that enough. You get to make the meaning out of everything, including the hard shit, because there is going to be hard shit. That's part of life. None of us are exempt. There are no guarantees in life, but you get to make the meaning. You get to make the story. So decide to tell a bloody good one.
Yeah. I'm just going to mic drop right there and say thank you so much for coming on the podcast. This has just been such an incredible conversation, and myself and all the listeners are sending you so much love. Really, so much love to you, especially over the next couple of weeks. Thank you again. Thanks, darling.